Godzilla is now in New York City.
Monster 01 and 02, commence the attack.
All right, we're fading back in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stomp This Way, episode number 200 and something. Andrew, you still with us?
I am here and present.
Cool. Dylan and I are recording from the great state of Minnesota.
And
Oh, you
I
betcha.
Yeah.
am still in Oklahoma.
And Andrew is calling in from Oklahoma, so we apologize for any poor audio quality. But yeah, we're gonna try to do this on the
Yeah.
go.
We're on the go.
On the go.
We're on the go.
How are you doing today, Dylan?
Oh, I'm peachy.
That's good.
We had an eventful day.
We did have an eventful day. We
went and saw the new Mission Impossible.
We did.
Screen X.
We're at Screen X. Well, we started this weekend. We did kind of an impromptu Memorial Day weekend trip to Minnesota. Decided we were going to go watch the Thunder game here in Minneapolis, which turned out to be a disaster, but that is something else entirely. Not going to the game, just the game was bad because the Thunder got destroyed. But
Happens.
we enjoyed that last night, and today we went to the Mall of America.
The Mall of America.
Watched, like you said, Mission Impossible on Screen X, and then walked around the mall for a few hours.
Yes, we did.
We got our steps in.
It's good times.
It was. Spent a lot of money.
Aaron almost spent $1,300 today.
Yes, at one of their many weeb stores in the.
You can't call them weeb stores. That's frowned upon.
I'm sorry. One of the anime stores in the mall. They had a $1,300 Ghidorah statue,
Mm-hmm.
and you bet I was tempted. You bet I was tempted.
That Discover card was like, please no.
Yeah, the Discover card was like,
Please
no,
don't.
please don't. Dylan had to basically drag me out of the store, kicking and screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then tomorrow we're gonna go to the zoo.
We're going to go to the zoo.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna go to the zoo, the free zoo.
The free zoo.
There's a free zoo.
And after we go to the zoo, I don't know.
I don't know. See what time it is.
We'll see what time it is. I don't think the zoo will take us that long.
Probably not. No.
But
Not like
I want to go by Paisley Park while we're here.
Yeah.
Just to, it's not open tomorrow because
Yeah.
it's Memorial Day, but I'd like to see Paisley Park. I think it'd be cool.
Okay. We could probably fit that in. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But we're here to talk about giant monster movies. Kind of.
We are continuing our trend of dinosaur movies, but we are here with the dinosaur movie. What
The
movie?
dinosaur movie.
What movie is that?
Today we're going to talk about Jurassic Park.
Oh, yes. So exciting.
Wow.
So exciting. Andrew, you did view the movie today on your
Yeah.
own? By your lonesome?
All by his lonesome, he had to watch this film.
I know, very sad.
And I enjoyed every moment
I
of it.
bet you did.
Mhm.
I bet you did. Well, this is
I love Jurassic Park.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say, I think we all have an extensive history with Jurassic Park. It's a movie we've probably all been watching since we were
Children's.
children. Is a movie my dad really likes. So, of course, we watched it a lot as kids. And yeah, I have a long-term affectionate love affair with Jurassic Park.
A love affair?
Love affair.
The love. Ooh.
Zesty.
Wow.
It is one of my favorite movies. And I did, for this viewing, I went and revisited. I mean, it's the first time I'd read it. I read the novel, Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. So we
Wow.
have a kind of a reference point for, where this came from, where the differences are, and all that. So, exciting times.
Yeah.
Exciting times.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you ready to get into some production trivia?
Let's hear it. Tell me about it.
On Wikipedia, there is a literal book written about it. I just got a few highlights here, but if you want to know all there is to know about the production of this movie, just hop on over to Wikipedia and have at it. But anyway, just some highlights. So when they finally, before the book was ever published, there was already kind of a bidding war. There was 4 studios that got into a bidding war for the rights to the novel before it was published. But Spielberg, and with the backing of Universal, won the bid. They bought the rights to the book for $1.5 million. They then paid Crichton, after the book was published, they then paid Crichton an additional $500,000 to write a screenplay to adapt it for the screen. But then they did, after he wrote that rough draft, they brought in some other writers to rewrite it.
Most notably David Koepp.
Yeah, they brought in, I forgot her name, but one of Spielberg's frequent female collaborators came in and did a rewrite of the script. And then after she did a rewrite, they had David Koepp come in and do another rewrite of the script. And
Which I think Michael Crichton and David Koepp are the only credited.
they're the only
writers,
two
right?
that were credited. The other woman did not get credited in the movie. But yeah. Anyway, filmed from August to November of 92 in California and Hawaii. Post-production lasted until May of that following year.
Wow.
Spielberg had to supervise post-production while filming Schindler's List. George Lucas, has been said, came in. Actually, Spielberg asked Lucas to come in and supervise the ADR for the film while he went and filmed Schindler's List. It's pretty nice. Like, you're like, I need to go film another movie. Let me just go get this other legendary
George, what are you doing, bro?
director to supervise my ADR. But the dinos, of course, as we'll talk about, were brought to life with a combination of groundbreaking CGI and animatronics. And Spielberg even invested in the creation of the company DTS because they were specialized in surround sound technology, and he wanted moviegoers to really be immersed in all the little sound effects and dinosaur sounds that they created for this movie. The marketing campaign included deals with over 100 companies, and this film is preserved in the National Registry in the Library of Congress.
Nice.
So there you go.
It is a landmark
Wow.
film.
There you go. A landmark film. Well, I'm going to also read some box office information for you here.
Tell me about it.
It was released on June 11th of 1993, summer blockbuster of 93. Budget of $63 million. Pretty reasonable.
I mean, that's quite a bit of money, though.
Marketing
Yeah.
budget of $65 million.
Not bad.
They put a lot of money into marketing.
Yeah.
Opening domestic weekend of $50.1 million, which was then a record. It held the record between Batman movies. Because Batman
Returns.
had broke the record, and then a year after, Batman Forever then broke the record again. $357 million domestically in its initial run, which at the time was good for number 2 all time. It is the first film to gross $500 million overseas, and is currently sitting at $407 million domestic and $697 million internationally, for a total of $1.1 billion after a couple of re-releases. So, Yahoo. And some awards, I didn't list all the awards here, but it did get nominated for a lot of awards. It won 20 awards on the awards circuit, and it included 3 Oscar wins, which were for Best Sound Effects Editing, Best Sound, and Best Visual Effects, of course.
Nice.
So,
By the way, while we are recording this here film podcast, there is there's a window unit in the spot that we're staying at. So if you hear a little background noise, sorry about that.
yeah,
You'll have to deal with it.
yeah. I'm not going to turn it off because it's a little warm in here. But
Yeah.
that's okay. They don't believe in central heating, central air here in the great northern states, I guess. But we'll live.
We shall be okay.
We shall be good. But the
I
weather.
can't hear it.
Oh, you can't? Well, maybe the listeners can't either. The weather is actually pretty nice. It's like 60s, 70s during the day, 50s at night. Pretty nice.
Beautiful.
Wish it was that way back home.
It is
But-
there right now.
It is in the 70s
It
right
is
now,
right
but it's
now.
also very wet.
It's very wet right now. Mhm.
Very wet. Did you and Lisa mow the yard?
Okay, it's been raining the past 2 days.
Okay.
We can't really rain it.
Well, let's
Mo-
let's oh, I hung up on Andrew. We're gonna call him back. Hold on a second. Are you back with us?
Yeah, did you hang up?
I hung up on you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Well, I'm going to
I feel how much I'm appreciated.
Andrew, you're appreciated super
Immensely.
immensely.
I think what Aaron's trying to say and get out is that I think we're going to listen to a trailer. And then when we come back, Aaron will read off the cast and crew. I'm going to read off a plot summary. And then we're going to talk about this film, Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park, we sure are.
So we shall see you in a bit.
There it is. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
We've made living biological attractions so astounding that they'll capture the imagination of the entire planet.
The most phenomenal discovery of our time
How'd you do this?
becomes the greatest adventure of all time.
Can I touch it?
Universal Pictures presents
You feel that?
Hold on to your butts.
a Steven Spielberg film.
Senses a feeling all over the park.
Yeah, that's nice. Gotta go.
An adventure
I can't get Jurassic Park back online.
65 million years in the making. Jurassic Park.
All right, we're back. Andrew, you still with us? Andrew, you still with us now?
Hello.
Okay. My phone is a little. The connection, I guess, is kind of iffy, but anyway, Andrew, did you hear that trailer?
No.
No. Okay. Well, it was a trailer.
They don't make trailers like that anymore.
No, it's simple to the point.
A
But,
Steven Spielberg film.
A Steven Spielberg film. Anyway, you want some cast and crew?
Let's hear it. Who made this thing?
Well, you may not know, but it was directed by Steven Spielberg.
So I've heard.
It
No
was
way.
Yeah, it was written by Michael Crichton and David Koepp. Music by none other than John Williams, and starring Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Richard Attenborough, Bob Peck, Martin Ferrero, B.D. Wong, Samuel L. Jackson, Wayne Knight, Joseph Mazzello, and Ariana Richards.
Nice.
Nice. Dylan,
Nice.
what's the plot?
Well, if I can read this off my phone.
No, good luck with that.
John Hammond is getting ready to open a new theme park with live dinosaurs. But first, he needs professional scientists to sign off on it. For this task, he invites Dr. Alan Grant, his girlfriend, Dr. Ellie Sattler, and mathematician Dr. Ian Malcolm. Hammond also brings his grandkids to the island, and together with the kids and the lawyer Gennaro, the trio of scientists get into a pair of jeeps for the guided park tour. Unbeknownst to them, the park's main programmer, Dennis Nedry, is cooking up a scheme to steal some dino embryos, and in order to do so, he shuts down the park's security systems. With the fences down, the tour group is assaulted by the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Gennaro is eaten and Malcolm is left wounded, while Grant and the kids are thrown over the moat and forced to take shelter in a tree for the night. Ellie and the park warden Muldoon come by later and get Grant before being chased away by the T-Rex. While Hammond and the others work on getting the power back on, Grant and the kids make their way back to the visitor center. Ellie is eventually successful in restoring the power thanks to the sacrifice of Muldoon, who distracts the raptors while Grant and the kids make it back. The kids are then left in the dining room where they come under siege by raptors. They are able to avoid them and reunite with the adults. After a chase through the compound, the T-Rex shows up and attacks the raptors while the park visitors escape. Back on a helicopter bound for the mainland, the characters enjoy the sight of a flock of normal pelicans as credits roll.
More or less.
For the most part.
For the most part. That's
For the most part.
It's very hard to read off my phone.
I'm sorry. We're on the go. We're making sacrifices. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, we've all seen this movie many times, but coming back to this viewing, you know, I really wanted to see, like, you know, we always say like they don't make movies like that anymore, and I wanted to see, like, does it actually hold up as well as I think it does? And you know,
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. Well, spoiler alert. The answer is yes. But, and I also was interested to, you know, revisiting it now that I've read the book, like, what were the differences, where were the changes? And then one of the changes is right away. The book opens up. Actually, the opening scene of the book is basically the opening scene of the second movie, where a little girl is in Costa Rica and she gets attacked by the little compies or whatever they call them, the little green lizard dinosaurs and all that. But the first, I would say, I don't know, 20, 30 pages of the book is, and it's been a few weeks since I read it now, so I apologize if some of the finer details escape me. But it's actually not following our main characters. It's following some characters in Costa Rica as dinosaurs start showing up. Primarily the little compies start showing up in Costa Rica and like sneaking into like nurseries and killing babies and, you know, biting people. And then somebody brings in like a victim of the velociraptor attack, which we'll see kind of a version of that in this movie, where someone gets attacked by a raptor at the beginning. And so it's just kind of setting up a mystery. The book is very much kind of more, I would say the book is more mystery oriented. There's a lot more mystery set up in the book, and that takes longer to pay off. Where in the movie, we pretty much like just get into it. Because in the movie, you know, the opening scene is like they are bringing the raptor to the island, and she's in a cage, and, you know, she kind of tricks one of them and gets him, and he's like, shoot her, you know, classic
line.
So, yeah. And then we're going to meet our characters. We have Dr. Alan Grant, played by the incomparable Sam Neill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam Neill is an odd choice for this movie, especially at the time. Sam Neill at this time was known, I think, as a horror movie guy. He was in, movies like Possession. He was in movies like that awful Omen sequel.
Was he in? That's the Final Conflict, I think.
Part 4, I think. Yeah, whatever. That, or maybe 3.
I think it's 3, the Final Conflict. Anyway, but yeah, we just watched
Event
Possession the
Horizon,
other day
I think
too.
That came after this, but
yeah, it's like
he's kind of a horror guy,
especially like after watching we just watched, like I said, watched Possession the other day.
Yeah.
Especially like after watching something like that, I'm like, that's the guy they wanted to play Alan Grant. Okay,
They actually, I did read, they actually auditioned some bigger names. They talked about people like I'm drawing a blank now, but they thought about some bigger names, but Spielberg was like, well, I want to devote most of the budget to the effects, and we can't afford these other people, so we're gonna hire Sam Neill.
And it worked out.
It worked out great.
They actually and we'll meet Ellie Goulding. Ellie Sattler, played by Laura Dern. They're kind of an item in this movie, which is a rewrite. In the book, they were strictly colleagues. There was a big age gap, which actually Dylan and I figured out as we were watching this movie. I think the age gap between Sam Neill and Laura Dern is actually bigger than the age gap.
They're about 20 years apart.
In the book, they were about 15 years apart, I think. But she was strictly an undergrad assistant or whatever, or graduate assistant, I should say. But in this movie, they're going to make them a romantic item, which, I mean, is a fine change. I think it kind of adds a little bit to it. And then they're at this dinosaur dig, and similar thing happens in the book. They're digging up these dinosaur bones in the Badlands, and then John Hammond shows up, and he's like, the one that's been funding their digs or whatever. And he's like, I need you to come to this island that I've made.
And endorse my park.
And endorse your park. Because Hammond is having some legal troubles. He's had, and they don't go near as deep into it as the book does, but, they've had some accidents and all this. And his investors are getting worried, and they want some professionals to come sign off on this island because it's kind of going to be a big liability, So he's going to invite these scientists, and one of the scientists that the lawyer invites as, his representative is Dr. Ian Malcolm. Now, when the first rewrite after Crichton had done his version came along, she actually completely removed Ian Malcolm from the script. But by that point, they had already auditioned Jeff Goldblum, and Spielberg was like, he's so perfect for this part, we had to put the character back in the movie. So when David Koepp got a hold of it, he's like, you got to put Ian Malcolm back in the movie. So we have Ian Malcolm, played by Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum again.
Yeah.
I mean, he was famous, obviously. The Fly had come out. But none of these people were really big. Ellie Goulding, I think, was right at the beginning of her career.
Ellie Goulding.
Ellie Goulding.
Laura Dern.
Laura Dern. I get Ellie Sattler, and I get Ellie. I don't know why I keep getting Ellie Goulding in there. Laura Dern was at the beginning of her career. You know, we talked
she hadn't
about
been in a lot of things yet. I don't think. I mean, she'd been in a couple. I think by this point she'd been in a David Lynch film or two.
maybe, yeah.
Blue Velvet came out before this, right?
Blue Velvet is a 90. I don't think so. I could be wrong.
For some reason, I thought Blue Velvet came out like 87 or 88 or something like that.
Maybe it did, but
I don't know.
But we talked about Samuel L., who is in this movie. It's kind of a supporting role. He had been in a lot of stuff and a lot of bit roles, but this was before Pulp Fiction, which I think really propelled him to stardom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I almost said David Attenborough, but it's Richard Attenborough, I'm sure, a veteran actor. But yeah, we're gonna. What is it, about 15 minutes in this movie where we get to the island?
Yeah, roughly 15, 16 minutes into the movie when we
Yeah.
finally show up to the island.
Yeah,
Take the helicopter ride and
yeah,
kind of give us some sweeping shots, and they kind of have to
Yeah.
lower down on the helipad.
yeah. A lot of this, I mean, the book was almost 400 pages. So a lot of this does happen faster than in the book. I think in the book it took us maybe like 50 pages to get to the island. And then once we get to the island, you know, they're going to kind of do their, I mean, right away they get on the Jeeps and they're taken and they see the Bronchiosaurus or whatever, Brachiosaurus, which is kind of the big, like, first visual we get of the dinosaurs. And Dr. Grant is like, kind of in, everybody's just kind of in shock. And it's a great shot. Spielberg directed the crap out of this movie. And one thing that Spielberg did that I think is very interesting is, like, the book is not a children's book. It's very violent. Deals with a lot of sciencey stuff. Like a lot of Crichton novels, there's a lot. Crichton loves the science. He loves to dig into the science. And there's a lot of sciencey mumbo jumbo. A lot of stuff about computer coding in the book. Like, if you took like just all the lines of code and all the like lines of DNA sequences in the book and like kind of like condensed them onto together, there was probably like 10 pages worth of just that stuff in the spread out throughout the book. So and just a lot of scientific talk. And the character of BD Wong plays, Dr. Wu, he is cut down to one scene in this movie. He's a big part of the book, and there's a lot of, you know, talking about how they created the dinosaurs and all like the stuff they have to do to breed them and all the problems that they have and all this and that is really condensed. Thankfully, Spielberg came up with a pretty clever way, and Spielberg and Kep came up with a pretty clever way to kind of condense most of the science he talked down into this one little animated sequence with Mr. DNA, which is kind of a fun little sequence in the movie and a good way, I think, to kind of get across most of the science stuff without putting the audience to sleep. But, and then, you know, here we get to see a little baby raptor hatch. It's like, ooh. But, yeah.
Ooh.
I think this movie is pretty well paced. I mean, we get to the island within 15 minutes. We see dinosaurs within the first 20 minutes. And this first act is kind of, we're setting all of it up, is pretty engaging. And then, you know, I think we kind of go, I would say kind of I don't want to call it slow, because I don't think it's like slow in a bad way. But once we kind of get on the tour of the island and they're going to take the guided Jeeps or the self-driving Jeeps around, that they're on like the little track. And they're going to go and they're going to look for some Dilophosauruses or whatever, and they're not going to be out there. And then they go by the Tyrannosaurus one and they try to lure it out with a goat, but the Tyrannosaurus doesn't come out. And then they go and they get out of the car and find a sick Triceratops. It's kind of gross because she's like squeezing little pimples on its tongue and all that. And it's like, ew.
And then she checks its crap.
Ew.
Gross.
Dinosaur dung. She's got like
Gross.
literally elbow deep. And it's like, ew. Grosses Ian Malcolm out too.
She had gloves on.
She did have gloves on, but then she like rested the sleeves on her knees, and then she was just like pulling them off all nonchalantly, and I was like, ugh. and then Jeff Goldblum does say something like, make sure you wash your hands before you eat anything or something. But yeah, and then it's a little over an hour in the movie when crap hits the fan. and we get to the best sequence in this film of any dinosaur film. One of the best sequences in film period, which is the Tyrannosaurus Rex breaking free. So we have this character played, what was his name?
Which character?
What was the
The lawyer.
no, not the lawyer, the Nedry. Nedry is he's the computer programmer for the island. And again, there was a lot more of this in the book with this Dotson guy that is in the book. He works for Biosyn, which is cut out of this movie. They'll recycle Biosyn for the Jurassic World movies, but they're a rival company in the book. They're a rival company, and they're trying to, instead of create their own stuff, they like to just, do some corporate espionage, and he's just trying to steal the dinosaur embryos. In the book, in the movie, Dodson is cut down to one scene, and he meets Nedry in this this outdoor diner in Costa Rica, and he's explaining to him like, "Hey, I need you to steal some embryos. Here's this little shaving cream can that you can store them in." Blah blah blah. So Nedry's gonna go back and he's gonna basically intentionally shut down the security system, so that he can go and retrieve the embryos undetected and then take it down to the dock to put it on a ship. And he wants to do it in 18 minutes before anybody notices, but of course, he goes horribly wrong. No. So he's going to go and he shuts everything down, and then
It shuts everything except the raptor cage down.
except the raptor cage. He's smart enough not to turn off the raptor cage. And he goes and he, of course, runs into the sign and then gets lost. And then he meets this little dinosaur that spits. In the book, all pretty much happened, although this dinosaurs are described as being like 10 feet tall, not the little like gremlin creature that we see in the movie. But
that thing's pretty horrifying.
It is pretty horrifying. I mean,
yeah.
I was going to say, one of the things that I think Spielberg did that was pretty amazing, I kind of got off track earlier, was he took this book, which was a pretty adult-oriented book, very violent, like I said, very sciencey, a lot of science talk in it, and he turned it into a family movie. This is a family movie. Now, that being said, there are still several scenes where I was like, if I was 8 years old in the theater watching this, I would be covering my eyes. It's kind of scary. And I think Spielberg did a great job of balancing, like, just enough violence to make, to entertain even, the adults and keep everybody on the edge of their seat, but without making it to where, you couldn't take, I mean, you wouldn't want to take your youngest kids probably, but, anyone like 10 and above can go and watch and have a good time. And that's because Spielberg, at this point was really big into making family movies. I mean, obviously he had made E.T. and Close Encounters and that kind of stuff. And yeah, and I think that is one of the, some people didn't like the fact that he turned it into kind of a family movie from the kind of gory horrors of the book. But no, I think it's one of the really impressive things that Spielberg did. And of course it's helped, as we'll talk later, by John Williams' score, which is very like, you could have easily have written like a horror movie type score for this movie and made it work. But Williams is like, Williams and Spielberg decided, no, we're going to make this like this big grandiose, like, this is, this is not like a scary thing. This is like an amazing thing that just kind of goes sideways, But anyway, so an hour in, all that stuff goes down. Nedry gets killed, and now the fences are turned off. It's a rainstorm or thunderstorm, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex is gonna break through that fence. First, it's gonna eat the goat and like throw the goat leg onto the car. The kids are in one car with the lawyer. The lawyer is Gennaro. He is actually a combination of two here. The only real like condensing of characters, of major characters. In the book, there was the lawyer, Gennaro, who I think actually survived until the end. And then there was another character whose name escapes me for the moment, but he was like kind of like the park guide, and Hammond made him like take everybody on the tour or whatever. And he was kind of like the coward one that, got chased down and eaten by the Tyrannosaurus. I think he actually, in the book, there's a baby Tyrannosaurus. There's an adult and a juvenile one, and I think the juvenile one's the one that actually kills him. But here in the movie, Gennaro is gonna freak out as soon as he sees that dinosaur, and he's gonna go run to the bathroom and leave the kids in the car. And Grant and Ian are in the other car. Ellie stayed behind with the sick Triceratops. Just an amazing scene. This is just like peak Steven Spielberg. The way he directed the scene, and of course, is combined with all the effects that we'll talk about later, and the rainstorm, and the way that animatronic dinosaur comes out and is like combined with CGI and like terrorizing those kids. I mean, this is a horrifying scene. This is a scene like I was telling you, like if I was 8-year-old, when I was, especially if I'd been in the theater seeing that at 8 years old, I'd probably had nightmares for weeks. So that dinosaur like coming through the sunroof and trying to get those kids, only separated by that one pane of glass. I mean, this is like some amazing work by Spielberg right here. And then the kids, this is where Grant gets out of the car, lights a flare, and leads the dinosaur away. Well, first he distracts her for a little bit, and then Ian gets out of the car, and he actually
Takes off running with it.
Takes off running and leads the dinosaur away. But he actually leads it right to the bathroom where it knocks it down and then eats Gennaro. But Ian gets away with just a leg injury. And this scene, again, when I read that when Kev was given the job of rewriting it, he's like, Spielberg said, the only 2 mandates he had for him was like the Tyrannosaurus Rex scene had to stay in the Jeep with the Jeep attack, and the raptor scene in the kitchen had to stay in. Those were the only 2 like directives Kev was given. Like you have to keep in, everything else you could do whatever you want. But yeah, it's an amazing scene. Now I will say one small editing and or directing choice that is made. Spielberg does such a great job with the scene. Now, of course, it's been made a lot about over the years. It's like, why was the ground on the other side of the cage, even with the Jeeps? And then all of a sudden, when the Tyrannosaurus is pushing them over the edge, there's like a steep drop. Now, I've seen like maps of it after the fact, or if you read the book the way it's described, there's like, yes, there's the part of it where it's like the ground is even level on both sides of the fence, and then like there's go down a little ways, and then there's like where the moat is, like in a zoo where you'd have a moat where you'd like separate the animals from the fences or whatever. There's a giant moat where they use to separate the different padlocks of the animals, and that's the portion where they get pushed over. So it is a bit of a mistake by Spielberg to not like give a shot where you can see where like the ground ends and the moat begins. But regardless, it's still a great scene when they're going over, and Grant's got Ellie, the little girl on his back, and he's got to like get the rope or the cable before the Jeep drops on them, and then poor Timmy is still stuck in the Jeep, and he gets thrown into the trees, and has this whole scene where Grant has to climb the tree and rescue him. One thing they do also with Grant is like in the book he liked kids in the book, but in the movie they're going to actually kind of build on this character and say at the beginning he doesn't like the kids, and he's as part of his character arc is coming to like these kids because Ellie wants kids, but Grant's been very like putting it off. Another thing they do is that they age swap the kids. So like in the book, Tim was older, and what's the sister's name, Andrew? Dylan.
Max.
Was her name Max? That doesn't sound right. Lex. Tim and Lex were age swapped, so Tim was the older one and Lex was the younger one, but Spielberg decided that he wanted Tim to be kind of younger and have, kind of childlike obsession with dinosaurs, which he did have in the book anyway. And then they wanted to kind of have like the Lex having the crush on Dr. Grant, so they had to age her up. They aged both of them up a little bit from what they were in the book, I believe. But anyway, so then they go on their little adventure, and they're gonna trudge across the park while Ellie, her and Muldoon, the park ranger warden, they come out and they're driving around and they pick up Malcolm, and we had another great scene where the Tyrannosaurus is chasing them, and they have that close up of the side view mirror where it says, objects in mirror may be closer than they appear or whatever, as it's trying to get them. And yeah, a lot of fun there. But yeah, so then Alan and Grant and the kids are going to go on their adventure. They have the scene where the herd of dinosaurs are running from the Tyrannosaurus, and they come through the forest and almost run them over, but then the Tyrannosaurus gets them, and or gets one and eats them, and then they're gonna go away. One major sequence that they've omitted from the book that a lot of it looks like they're gonna recycle for this new movie is the river sequence. Now, I am glad they cut it out because I'm gonna be honest, like the river sequence in the book was probably one of my least favorite things about the book because I don't know, like the book, like I said, for a lot of the book is very violent, very kind of scary and very adult oriented. There was just something about the river sequence to me, the way Crichton wrote it, it came off it was the only sequence that I felt like it came out of a children's book because there's like a scene where they have to get the raft out of this building and the Tyrannosaur is there, but he's just kind of like sitting on his butt asleep. And they have to do the whole thing where they like sneak by the sleeping dinosaur and all of this. And then when they get into the river, the dinosaur is swimming after them and keeps trying to get them and all this. And I don't know. I just didn't like the way it was written. But he rightfully, I think, omits that part. And we do all that. Meanwhile, Samuel L. Jackson's going to go and they need to turn the power off to get rid of Nedry's bug you put in the system or whatever, and then power up the power station. So he's going to go, and of course he never comes back. Ellie, in the book, one of the things they did was that they give her a lot more to do in this movie. So like in the book, she spent most of the final half of the book, like, because Ian's injury in the book was like described as a lot more severe. Like he had like a deadly injury and he was like dying and they were trying to save his life. So most of what she does in the second half of the book is just stick around in the basement and take care of Ian. And then towards the end, she like gets to run around in the yard to try to like distract the raptors while Grant goes for the power station or whatever. But in this, she's going to be the one that goes and turns the power back on. She does it just at the same time that Timmy is trying to get off the electric fence and he gets shocked. And then Grant has to bring him back to life, resuscitating. But, and then she's going to get chased by the raptors and all that. But she gets back and, all that happens. And then about that same time, Grant and the kids get back to the visitor center and they're all kind of reunited. And then they're going to leave the kids in the dining area by themselves. And then the raptors are going to come and, chase them through the kitchen or whatever. And another great sequence by Spielberg and the way he films that and has the kids running around. And when like the raptor sees her reflection in one of the cabinets or whatever and rams his head into it and all that stuff. And then we're going to kind of have our final sequence where all the kids reunite with the adults. And then, they're trying to get away from the raptors. You have the scene where, like in the book, Timmy was the one that was kind of good with the computers, and he's the one that kind of accidentally fumbles his way into turning the power back on. But here you're going to have it's going to be Lex, and she's going to restore the power to the logs, which helps for a little bit. But then the raptors get through anyway, and they chase them they go through the ceiling, and then they come out, and they have the little thing on the fossils where they're like hanging and dangling. And and then kind of a Deus Ex Machina where they're about to get killed by the raptors, but then the T-Rex just barges in and gets one,
snaps it,
and then they run out of the building, and Dr. Grant's like, after careful consideration, I've decided not to endorse your park. And Hammond is like, so have I. And they drive off, and they've got the phones back now, so they called the helicopters back in, and they get on the helicopter and they leave. And they see some pelicans, kind of, a symbol of a return to normalcy. And Grant's got these kids snuggled up to him, and 'cause he likes the kids now and all that. But yeah, that's it. A little different than the book. They, they run around, they get the power restored. There's a lot more characters in the book that are still around, so they kill Dr. Wu, and Dr. Wu does not survive. B.D. Wong's character does not survive. Hammond is a pretty big departure from the book. In the book, he is ultimately a greedy businessman, who had super vain, which he is vain in this movie too, but he was a bad moral person, and he gets eaten by the little compies. And here in the movie, they've turned him into from just like an evil corporate businessman into kind of this sympathetic grandfatherly figure. Now, yes, he's an eccentric billionaire. Yes, he's obsessed with making this park to a point where it's obviously become unsafe for everyone. But at the end of the day, he still loves his grandchildren. And he's like, in the book, he was partially doing it for the money, partially doing it just to prove that he could do it. Here in the movie, he truly wants to like bring a fun experience for kids, because there's a scene where the lawyer is talking about, we can charge $1,000, we can charge $10,000, we can charge whatever you want, and Hammond is like, well, we don't want to just to be for the ultra rich, we want anyone to be able to afford, come enjoy this and blah blah blah. So that is a character change for Hammond, and they're going to allow him to live because he's not a bad guy like he is in the book. But the book also kind of has, after all the action goes down, they kind of have this weird coda because there's a lot more in the book about the behavior of dinosaurs and trying to, figure out the behavior of dinosaurs and, how has that changed because of this new environment and all this. But they're going to go and find the raptor nest and do a bunch of stuff with that. And then the book ends with the Costa Rican government comes and picks them up and then firebombs the island. So, but Ian is going to be retconned for the sequel novel, but it is stated that Ian died of his injuries in the book, in the first novel.
Don't you worry, he's back.
But he'll be back, don't worry. But yeah, that's Jurassic Park. A great movie.
Damn good movie.
Great movie. I love, like I said, I think the pacing of it is incredible. I mean, I would say, if I'm going to be nitpicky, you could complain that the best scene in the movie is in the middle of the movie with the T-Rex. And there's nothing really after that lives up to that scene. But I still think there's a lot of good stuff in the second half of the movie as it goes on.
The Velociraptor kitchen scene is pretty good.
The Velociraptor kitchen scene would be the next best scene, and it was really good. And then the cinematography and stuff is really good. I mean, the way that Spielberg and his DP, filmed these dinosaurs, and they knew when to like put that wide angle lens on there and get that grand sweeping shot. Just little stuff like the scene where like the raptor is like looking up after they get into the ceiling tiles or whatever, and the computer screen is like projecting like all the number sequences on him, even though there's like no reason that the computer screen would be projecting an image onto the raptor, but who cares? It looks cool. But yeah, great stuff. Great stuff.
I agree.
Everybody agree?
Fantastic movie.
Great movie.
It's a great movie.
All right, well, you want to move on to creature design?
Let's talk about it.
Sure.
Well, let's talk about the T-Rex. The Rexy. I love the Tyrannosaurus movie. Look in this movie. It's scary.
It's classic.
It's classic. The roar is amazing. There's like that kind of, lizard-esque body and that big crocodilian type head almost. Those big sharp teeth and those big eyes and the little arms, and just amazing. Now they've come out later and said, a lot of the depictions of dinosaurs is probably not super accurate. A lot of dinosaurs probably had feathers actually, but I really love the look of the dinosaurs. The Velociraptors, they're about like 6 feet tall or 4 feet tall, 6 feet long.
6 feet tall.
They're great. Again, like lizard looking creatures with those thin snouts and sharp teeth, and they don't try to like make them super colorful and stuff, like, which I think would be kind of distracting and take away from the simplicity of it. But we also have like the Bronchiosauruses, which is the big long neck dinosaurs, and we have the ones that are running or whatever in the field. But no, I think overall dinosaur design was really great in this movie. I think they did a great job of crafting, dinosaurs that they wanted to look harmless. Then the carnivores look dangerous and scary, scary for a family film.
mean, it's really almost like they took like pretty classic imagery of like at the time at least like what we grew up with knowing as dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Like from learning like in like like our like elementary school like science classes and whatnot. We learned about dinosaurs and things like that. Like and people obviously older than us. It looks like they literally took images straight off the pages of like those science books.
Yeah.
And made them real.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look what they did just about that, and I think they did a really good job. Effects, Oscar-winning effects,
Incredible.
I mean, amazing.
Incredible.
I mean, now again, in '93, these were all amazing effects. Looking at it today, the CGI, for the most part, holds up really well. Now there are scenes like, especially in broad daylight, like the first scene when they first pull up and see the Bronchiosaur, looks a little sketchy. And then there will be a scene later, the scene where the herd of dinosaurs almost runs them over. Doesn't look that good.
It looks fine until they like get to the tree.
Yeah, and they're jumping over the tree.
They're jumping over that dead tree, and then they look a little
Dated,
passable. But they still look good.
Yeah, I mean it's still passable. Nothing like
anything with the T-Rex though.
They did an amazing job with the T-Rex, the CG model.
And the Velociraptors.
And the Raptors.
Yeah, and there's a couple scenes with the Raptors where I'm like, you can tell it's a little dated, but no, for the most part, the Raptors look great. And then what really makes it great is that they pair it
with incredible practical effects.
Yeah, there's some amazing animatronics, particularly with the T-Rex and the Velociraptors too, that just look amazing. Like there's the way they filmed that animatronic T-Rex. I mean, you could convince me that was a real T-Rex they were filming. I mean, it's really good. And then there's
they literally have credited dinosaur handlers on the film.
The Bronchiosaur too, like when they're up in the tree and they're like feeding it leaves or whatever, it is a practical effect, and I mean that looked really good. You know, Spielberg has said that one of his big influences was he loved the Raymond Burr cut of the original Godzilla movie because he saw it on TV as a kid. And when he was a little kid, he thought that was like the most realistic dinosaur movie he'd ever seen, and it looked like it was really happening to him, and so he wanted to like recapture that feeling that he had watching that old Godzilla movie. He wanted kids to be able to have that feeling, in the 90s where they felt like what they were watching could be real. And so that's what he set out to do. And mission accomplished.
I think he did a pretty good job.
Well, I mean, you take that to just and pair it with not only good special effects, but really good set design too.
Yeah.
There's a ton of really good sets. I mean, there's obviously, I mean, the park itself is all a practical location. They filmed it on location in Hawaii, which you can actually go visit some of the filming locations, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But you can go, I mean, filming it in practical locations, but obviously there was some big set pieces. I mean, like the whole trees, like the whole sequence after they go over the ledge and they're in the trees. Like, I mean, pretty expansive, like tree set that they had to build and put these actors in to have the Bronchiosaurus or whatever, Brachiosaurus, whatever, come up and feed them. But that also helps contribute to it as well.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, and then of course, great cinematography helps them out too. That that Tyrannosaur scene, like we complain about a lot of movies like hiding bad CGI in the dark, but I think the thunderstorm and rain really actually accentuates that Tyrannosaurus scene. Jeep attack scene. It doesn't feel like they're just trying to hide, bad CGI or whatever. It does help the CGI because it looks really good in that scene. But yeah. And then score, of course, can't complain about John Williams. This is, in fact, I would say, John Williams has a lot of iconic themes, but this Jurassic Park, two of the themes from Jurassic Park are two of the best. The Welcome to Jurassic Park, the kind of the bum 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 thing, and then the more kind of like upbeat march he does when they are flying onto the island or whatever. But no, great music, and it really accentuates, like I said, the kind of the grandiose like scale of this idea, and then when it needs to be more intense, it can be more intense too. But no, I love this Williams score.
Absolutely. John Williams is, I mean, obviously top tier composer.
I mean, I don't know what won Oscar for best score that year, but I don't
should
care
have been
whatever it was. This should have
Let's find
won.
out.
I think, did John Williams win it for Schindler's List that year? I think he did, actually. Or at least got nominated.
The 1994 Oscars for films in 1993. Select a category. Best original score. Nominated were The Remains of the Day by Richard Robbins, James Newton Howard for The Fugitive, Dave Grusin for The Firm, Elmer Bernstein for The Age of Innocence, and John Williams for Schindler's List, which he did win.
Yeah. So he didn't even
John
get
Williams beat
nominated.
himself, basically.
He should have been nominated twice, and he should have won. I mean, I think the Schindler List score is good. Their score is good, but it's not this.
It's not as iconic as this.
Yeah, it's not this. But
But he
anyway.
won an Oscar either way.
Yeah, I mean, he got his Oscar either way. Whatever. But
Still one of the most nominated people in history.
yeah, I think he is the most nominated person in history.
I don't think he is anymore,
No,
if I'm not mistaken.
No, I mean, I think he passed Walt Disney. I don't think.
Did he?
Yeah, no one's caught up with him. So anyway, yeah, and so yeah, amazing.
Absolutely incredible film.
You gonna do some
Oh,
final
yeah.
thoughts?
Let's hear it.
All right,
Andrew?
Andrew, go for it.
Well, you see, it's a good movie. I like all the stuff going on with the characters and, the set designs, the animatronics, the animation they do is that the CGI, all that. I like all the characters in it. I like all the dynamics between, the kids and Dr. Grant. Their bonding and all that. And, I love the score in this movie. The John Williams did a great job, as always. And, I the CGI holds up even till this day, pretty passable. And, I think I'll give this movie, I'll give it an A.
An A.
An A.
All right. Well, Dylan, do you want to follow that up?
I know I haven't said a whole lot so
Yeah.
far, but this film truly is, I mean, it's iconic in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
The characters became pop culture icons, memes. I mean, that's how big this film has become. I mean, like the shot of Ian, like after he's injured, he's just laying there on the table, like it's become a meme.
His shirt unbuttoned. Yeah.
But like this Steven Spielberg crafted not only just such a film that's crossed generations, that even people, I mean, because obviously this film came out well before we were all born.
Yeah.
It's something that our parents watched when they were fairly young, that they were able to pass down. I'm sure eventually will pass down. I mean, it's a cross-generational film, and a lot of that is because of the storytelling. Michael Crichton, the story that he came up with, I think works on a lot of levels. It's got great tension. It's got great mystery. It's got great intrigue. It's got good action. And then David Koepp, I'm sure, helped contribute a lot to that. The basic outline, I assume, came from Michael Crichton.
Yeah.
But from what it sounds like, the additions and the things that they did take away or changed or altered from the book, I feel like, in my opinion, I haven't read it. I'll have to read the book. Sounds like it made this a better film than the book. Just the way that they like you said, the way that they characterized Alan Grant's character and made him, in this film, gave him that character arc where he had to, start out as, not liking kids and then having to, care for the kids and grow that relationship with them until the end of the film where he truly cares about them. But all of this is just built on the backbone of Steven Spielberg knowing how to direct the crap out of a movie and building all these sequences so perfectly, and then coupling that with the great effects, the perfect blend of, at the time, newer modernized CGI technology with the practical effects that they truly don't make movies like that anymore, with such a seamless blend of the practical and the computer generated effects is pretty incredible. And then all completely enhanced by one of the greatest scores ever written by John Williams. I mean, an icon in and of himself. I mean, this score has two of the most iconic themes ever put to film. If you told someone to name a iconic theme, they probably would point out Jurassic Park as one of them. And so, I mean, pretty much everything about this movie is just pretty much incredible, despite the nitpicks, you know, little bit of dated CGI, things like that, which doesn't bother me. I think for the most part, it holds up pretty well. But I'm not going to even knock it for the dated CGI. I mean, I think it's a pretty much incredible film. I'll give it an A+. I love this movie.
Nice.
We love sound effects.
We love sound effects. Yeah.
A happy moment.
Yeah.
A happy moment. Yeah. Listen, I'll mirror a lot of what you said. I do agree with you. I think, having read the book, I think that the movie is a better product than the book. The book is a good book. It's one of my favorite Crichton books that I've read. I've read a handful. He does a lot of great stuff. Obviously, he came up with the idea and the story, which is there's no movie without that. You know, but Crichton has a thing about he loves to get into the science, and he loves to, through his characters, just kind of espouse his viewpoints on things, you know, kind of ad nauseum. And what he does with Ian, especially, like, Ian is kind of the mouthpiece character for Crichton in the novel. And towards the end, there is just a whole bunch of Ian just, like, you know, going on and on about chaos theory and, you know, how that it relates to the dinosaur stuff and humanity, the earth is gonna, you know, right itself and blah 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 blah. And it's kind of like, okay, I get it. Let's get back to the dinosaurs. You know, the way that I kind of talked about, Spielberg turned this into a family adventure movie, which Spielberg is so great at making, and he was able to, you know, really just condense the book, the best elements of the book, down into this movie. Him and Kep, but it's really a masterful job, and yeah, I love everything about it. I love the characters. You know, Grant was kind of a flat character in the book. They've added some dimensions to him for this movie, but characters are great. The actors are great. The effects, as we talked about, are great. You know, minus a couple of scenes, a little bit dated CGI. The pacing's really good. I mean, it's got one of the all-time great scenes in cinema history, in my opinion, with the T-Rex attacking the Jeeps in the storm. You know, they know what scenes they needed to edit out of the book. And yeah, I love this movie. This is, you know, I love monster movies, and this is maybe one of the greatest monster movies ever made. And it's really impressive. So I will also give it an A+.
A happy moment.
Yay.
A happy
moment.
No news for today, I guess.
We don't have any real news I know of off the top. Like I said, I kind of scrambled and put notes together at the last minute for this one, other than, you know, the usual stuff. There's Godzilla and Kong is coming in 2027. I think there's like a theme park ride opening up in Thailand or Philippines or something related to the movie. Yeah. G-Fest is coming up in about a month and a half. We'll be doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, let's see. What do we got next week? We will be doing the sequel, The Lost World Jurassic Park. I'm still working on that book. I got to finish it before we get to that movie next week. But anything else we want to add?
I don't think so.
Nothing?
I don't
Andrew?
think so.
All right. Well, don't forget that you can always contact us at tomthisway1954@gmail.com.
Absolutely. Andrew, I believe we have a website. Why don't you tell them what it is?
You can find the website at www.tomthisway.wordpress.com and find everything you needed to know about us in the podcast.
That's right. Old
There you go.
episodes and about us and upcoming schedule and all of that. And then, of course, you can find us on social media.
On the socials. Yeah, I think we're up on Facebook. You can find us at Stomp This Way.
That's right.
See whatever Aaron updates us with over there.
That's right. But other than that, don't forget Lost World Jurassic Park next week. And as always, I'm Aaron.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Dylan, and we'll catch you in the next one.